Okay, hi, we will get started. We are very happy to see you all connecting from everywhere in the globe, Europe, United States, Americas in general. Very happy to have you all here. Today, we have a very special webinar because we're very happy to have here with us one of our most loved clients. It's Empresa Escolar, represented by Jorge Graterol, who is the leader in planning for a large region of the business. Jerry will tell you about him in a short while. So we'll get started. I'm introducing also Jerry Bendiner. He's our product sensei, the one in charge of designing this awesome product, Factible Tools. He will be giving first few words, and then we'll get it to Jorge. Please, if you have any question, let us know via the question and answer tool. We will be answering some of these questions at the end of the webinar. So thank you very much. Happy to see you all. Jerry, all yours.
Thank you. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the webinar. What we'll hear today is a very successful case study. No question about that. For us in Factible Tools, it's also a confirmation of the vision that drove us a couple of years ago when we decided to create Factible Tools. Both Camilo and myself have traveled quite a long journey. I'm not going to talk about decades, though you can tell from the color of my beard. Quite a few years working in supply chain design and optimization, building solutions, helping clients, working in projects. And what I've learned is that behind any successful supply chain modeling, supply chain design tool, you will find a blend of science and art. The science is obvious. Most of these tools in the background rely on math modeling tools, algorithms, mixed integer programming models to capture the scenario that you feed them and return, quote, an optimal, unquote, solution. That is the science. But there is an art behind this. And the art is as important as the science to end up with a successful tool and a successful project. For us, the art is finding the right balance, getting to enough detail in the model to make sure that the output is valid and credible and consistently good, but not going into too much detail that will paralyze the user and render the tool pretty much unmanageable. I've come across other tools, some of them quite recent, amazingly powerful tools. But you open the screen, whether they're cloud or desktop, it doesn't matter, and you're faced with dozens of menu items, dozens or hundreds of tables, parameters, coefficients. Even for somebody that is familiar with modeling, mathematics and such, it can be overwhelming. For us, it's been always reminding ourselves that quality output doesn't come from maximizing detail. It comes from finding and using the right level of detail. We haven't always been successful. I've been involved in probably close to 100 big projects over my journey, and there's been failures. It's impossible not to have failures. Most of them, in my case, have been from missing the art, from accepting going into detail that we didn't need, and creating too much complexity for the tool to work well. And I had a few months ago, I had a discussion with a very well-known and very respected supply chain design professional in the US. And they were looking for a planning tools like Factible Tools, and we're trying to sell the tool and the concept. And in the discussion, in the presentation, he asked me, how many fields does the Factible Tools database have? It caught me by surprise. I didn't have an answer. I had this phone beside me. I used WhatsApp, contacted our guru programmer, and within a few minutes, he was able to come up with a good estimate, about 1,200. So this very well-respected individual looked at me and said, well, anything under 5,000 is not going to cut it. And we're talking about supply chain design. It's a strategic modeling of the supply chain, not detail, not sales and operations planning. I knew at that point with that reaction that we were not going to get that project. We were not going to be able to sell the tool. But I left the meeting comfortable that I didn't agree with him. And the case study that Jorge is going to present in a few minutes for us is a validation of that sense that less is sometimes more, or less is usually more. And that is the vision that drove us in developing Factible Tools. It's a little bit like applying Pareto principle to supply chain modeling. Let's capture 80% of the essence of the problem with 20% of the headaches. I think from our experience with Polar and other projects over the last year that we have been successful. We won't be able to solve everybody's problems, but we were aiming to solve 80–90% of supply chain design issues and challenges and projects. And our sense is that we've been successful, and that is the spirit behind Factible Tools and the way we design the platform. Okay, enough of me, enough of Factible Tools. Let's hear now directly from Jorge and Polar. Jorge is the planning and logistics manager for North America, Europe, and Asia for Polar. He leads a regional supply chain integration, digital transformation, strategic sourcing for international operations. He has over 6 years of experience. He specializes in demand planning, business intelligence, and operational efficiency. And I'm not surprised that given his strength and background, we were able to work so well together. Enough of me. Jorge, it's all yours.
Great. Thank you very much, Jerry. First of all, I'd like to thank you, Camila, Jerry, and the entire Factible Tools team for the kind introduction, kind words, for inviting us as well to be a part of this webinar. It is a real pleasure to share our experiences and the learnings we've had with you so far. Our session for today, let me share it so you can see it, is titled, just a second.
There you go.
Yep. Our session today is titled Supply Chain Decisions in a World That Doesn't Stop. And what do we mean by this? This is something that we live every day in Empresas Polar. Supply chains never pause, and the world around them keeps getting faster and faster. So today I'd like to share our journey, our challenges, our transformation, and the impact of adopting new tools such as Factible Tools, and what is our current mindset around this. So let's start a bit about us and Empresas Polar. Empresas Polar operates across a very diverse set of global markets. Each of these markets brings its own unique supply chain dynamics, from North America to Europe, from South America to Asia. Our teams face different customer expectations, regulations, and logistic realities. This geographical and operational complexity has always been both a bit of an opportunity and a challenge. So let's go on ahead and talk about a little more about the challenge. Our traditional approach has historically relied heavily on spreadsheets and siloed tools. That has worked for a while, but as our operations have grown more complex, we've started to hit our limits. We often found ourselves working reactively instead of proactively. Taking too much time, consolidated, fragmented data, and validating information. And because of this, scenario analysis has always been difficult and stagnated. In short, critical decisions become slowed down, and precisely when we need to have speed around decisions. So to overcome these challenges, we partner with Factible Tools, focusing on 4 main strategic objectives. Okay, these have been building and simulating scenarios in real time, integrating multiple planning divisions, visualizing trade-offs, and enabling cross-functional analysis. Factible Tools has given us a powerful decision support framework. It hasn't just been a software, it has given us a new mindset around this, embracing agility, visibility, and collaboration between teams. Our teams currently are empowered to run what-if analysis, assess risks proactively, taking into account multiple variables that sometimes can become quite difficult to take into account in international logistics in a simple way. And we co-create feasible plans in a structured yet flexible environment. This marks a clear shift from our intuition-based and spreadsheet approach to a more insight-driven planning with a simulation of a what-if analysis. Factible Tools has brought meaningful improvements to our planning in both performance and team dynamics. We have improved our planning cycles, making them shorter and more practical. We have gotten greater confidence in our decisions with different simulations and simulating more scenarios, more rich and complex scenarios, making better and more informed decisions. We have improved our cross-functional alignment, getting more teams into these simulations and everyone working together around this software in an integrated approach. These have brought in, of course, a lot of operational optimizations. And as we were speaking about it, we go about the risks in another way. We plan ahead and take into account multiple other variables, taking into account contingencies and putting up better model contingency plans. So we have a more optimized supply chain with a better risk modelation with contingency plans. Also, which is, to my opinion, some of the best things you can get with the Factible Tools software. It is quite simple to operate, and there is a very easy learning curve. So someone who is first having his first interactions with the software can get from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in quite a short time. It is very intuitive. So this process didn't just impact us in a way we worked, it transformed how our teams communicate, think, and work together. So we also collaborated with Factible Tools just a week, some weeks ago, and they brought out a new AI module. This is one of my personal favorites. Basically, they have a chatbot that works wonders and enables us to do complex variations beyond just the most cost-efficient scenarios. You can distance yourself from the best cost-efficient scenario, play along, design integration strategies, work the logistic networks, and mitigate risks from tariffs, international delays, maritime times, and just any variable that you can imagine. It's just, you just need to put it into words and play around the module. It's very intuitive, and you can also do it in natural language, so that also helps along with the what-if scenarios and simulating other variables. So we have also used this software in this module to define inventory ramp-ups, understand how the overcosts of this what-if scenarios work, and select strategically the customer selection to improve the levels of service, and work around proof of concept pilots, integrating different supply chains. What are some key benefits that this module brings us? First of all, the natural language. As Jerry was saying, you can interact with it very easily, putting into words and speaking around it as if it's your personal assistant, without crunching any different numbers or variables and doing the math. You can go your way around this chat and talking to it as if it's your personal assistant, and it does the legwork for you and basically gives it to you in such a way that is easy to understand. It's quite precise, and you can run this in a couple of minutes and it works wonders. So and then another benefit I like to point out is the comprehensive risk view. This goes beyond supply chain. It can also include commercial aspects, quality aspects, labors, tariffs, and maritime risks. So it is very rich. It is a very holistic way to comprehend and to take decisions around your supply chain. So it's a model that actually improves the product a lot and makes it go for full circle. And well, because it takes into account the risks, it is very natural to interact with. You can improve quite a lot your strategic decisions and make them in just a matter of seconds or minutes rather than hours or days. So,
Jorge,
yes.
Thank you very much. Everyone, any question, let us know. Now we will move to some questions we discussed with Jorge and his team during the work we've done with them in the last few months, and especially preparing for this webinar. Some question even the Polar team suggested of different things they would have liked to know before embarking in using this type of softwares, in this case, Factible Tools in their company. So I'll move on to some questions. Jorge, thank you very much for the presentation. Very inspiring, very interesting, and very to the point. So some questions we discussed with you and the team was, one was, what was the biggest challenge in adopting a tool like this? In this case, adopting Factible Tools. What would be the biggest challenge you faced as a team?
Okay, I'd say as a team, first, the learning curve, but I say it's not steep. It's very intuitive, and apart from the learning curve, I'd like to say that the mindset shift of everyone on the team. I think at first it takes a lot of courage to go about entrusting your decisions and all your calculations from spreadsheets to another tool. But as you interact with the tool and see the value it provides and the simplicity around it and the precision it gets, you get to trust it more, and you improve on your calculations and your simulations. So I'd say it's more of a cultural thing, and changing like your ways about it. And yeah, I think that would be the biggest challenge. It's much more psychological than technical there.
Yes, usually you mention it, and it's very important. Change management, usually it's hard, changes. Every change is hard on us and the team, and etc. Another question we discussed during our preparation was, you say the world is changing super fast. New tariffs, new regulations, new competitors in the market, and logistics is the way to handle all this happening in sales, marketing, legal, etc. Right? So the question we discussed was, how do you keep the process agile as the operation have to evolve fast and react fast to the world in general?
Okay, I'd say we keep it agile by doing like planning routines every day, having regular review cycles, feedback loops, scenario testing, and creating sufficiently robust models that enable us to do different reviews and scenario plannings. So what we have actually is an integrated supply chains model with different supply chains. It has its redundancies, since you can do the supply chain with one operation or another. But that robust model helps us choose the best way to serve at the lowest cost, and also gives us the flexibility to go back and forth and yeah, to take agile decisions.
Thank you, Jorge. Totally. Another discussion we had, and you just mentioned it a couple of minutes ago, is that sometimes it's not about the tool, but it's mostly how you use the tool. So, for example, in Polar case, we work together the first model, and we make sure, comparing to the Excel file you used to do this kind of planning, you could see the benefits and be sure it worked, right? But after that, the team had to start operating it, using the tool, including it in these fast cycles you're mentioning. And one question that always comes up is, what are the cultural or organizational changes that were necessary from before and after to make this a success for you and the team?
Yeah, the first thing I'd like to mention on the cultural change would be, I think there are some persons more accustomed to this kind of modeling, but we brought up teams and people that are not accustomed to this, and it was interesting to say to see how they interacted with one another. And I'm seeing like more technical people, more operation people rather than strategic. And it was interesting to see how they inputted their numbers, how they inputted their work, and everybody on the team, from different teams actually, put in their numbers and see, and they get to see like the relevance of what their work contributes like to the whole model and to the whole bigger picture of things. I think that was a change in part of it, and it was interesting also to see that how this encouraged like openness and to scenario thinking, because as I said, some people are not accustomed to scenario thinking, and it was interesting for them to see that what they do does have an impact on the bigger picture and how it comes together and integrates as a whole.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Very, very good answer. Very interesting. Another question we had, and before that, please, anyone in the audience that wants to make any question, use the question and answer tool so we can get to those questions in a few minutes. Also, we will be doing a short survey. Daniela, could you send the survey just to make sure everyone votes down on our webinar? And okay, so another question we had, Jorge, was what advice would you give to other companies starting this similar journey you already embarked on and are making the transition successful? What would be the main advice or advices you would give them to start with?
Yeah, so as advice I would give you, get in there, get the tool. This is the best tool we've seen so far. I think it's worthwhile. I think that the learning curve pays itself, and it's the best way we've gotten around this to do a simulation of different scenarios. It obviously takes some courage. It takes some time to get people around and change minds on how to approach this kind of simulation and calculations. But it is worthwhile. I think it's a very good investment in time. And once you get around the learning curve and you get the people around to open their minds around this kind of solutions, it goes a long way. It really goes a long way, and it will bring the optimizations and that you might need. It might bring as well different contingency plans for you to mitigate risks of different types of risks. So I'd say it is worthwhile. It just takes some courage. Get in there, go for it.
Jorge, I like that. I'll take that phrase for our material. Get courage, get in there. Okay, and I'm starting to take some of the questions we're receiving through the chat or the Q&A tool. One that I would like to mention is that it says, I guess there is not a standard time from when you start you say, I'm going to use Factible Tools until I use it. But would you say there is some time around for a company to know, hey, I'm starting to use Factible Tools, incorporating it to my cycles and my planning cycles? How much time, in your case, would you estimate to do that?
Okay, I think that might vary with the complexity and the scale of the operation. For us, it took around, I think, 3 weeks or so, maybe 4 weeks. And the learning curve also might change with the involvement of the person who is behind the wheel. So for me, I think it was like 2 weeks or so. But it is very intuitive, and the team of Factible Tools will help you around with that. And well, I think it's worthwhile. It is a good time investment, but it will make good on your money.
Awesome.
Sure.
Thank you very much, Jorge. Another question we received was, you mentioned using the AI model, you could even experiment some other questions you didn't have at the start when you didn't have the module. Someone is asking for maybe some ideas of what you could do with mitigating commercial risk with the AI. You mentioned, I think, commercial risk. So an example, maybe?
Okay, so sure. We have an integrated supply chain. We have an integrated supply chain where we could supply the same or a similar product from the different countries. And some customers might like this product being made in some place rather than some other. And what we do basically is we play around with the AI module to simulate how to achieve this supply from their preferred origin. Yeah, that's pretty much how we do and get around it. And after we do that, we also like do simulation where we get the best cost of serving these clients. So it is a pretty good analysis, and you can get around it in less than a minute.
Awesome. Thank you very much for the example. Another question we have from the audience is that, okay, this you mentioned during the whole presentation, but maybe it's a way to wrap up, starting to finish up and wrap up, is what would you say are the main advantages for you of using Factible Tools? If you had to say 1, 2, or 3 maximum, what would be for you the take on that?
I'd say we live in a very fast-paced environment, a very global environment, and Factible Tool gives us the flexibility to adapt to a changing environment in a way in which we could optimize costs, times, whatever is necessary, and also we can simulate a lot of contingencies. So any way you see it, it is improve on sales and profitability.
Jorge, we don't have any other questions, so thank you very. Oh, let me see. Maybe we've got a couple. Okay. Yes. Some people are asking if we could show the tool. That was not the scope today, Arturo. We will do that. We can contact you. We can do it in a different meeting or in future webinars. But we'll do that for sure. Thank you for your question, for your suggestion. Everyone, thank you very much for your time. This was a very quick, direct, and very specific webinar. Jorge and Polar team, thank you very much for using our tool, giving us feedback, and now participating of this webinar to answer some of the questions some of our not yet users are having. Jorge, thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Follow us on LinkedIn and YouTube, and get in touch with us. We will love to talk to you in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jorge.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.